Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Silent Podcast and our coverage of Survivor South Africa. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Orch, and today we are going to be doing a pre-season draft for the upcoming Season 9 Return of the Outcast season. I am so excited to be covering another season of my favorite version of Survivor with my favorite co-host, Sasha Joseph. Sasha, can you believe it? We're back.
We made it. Has it been a year? I don't know what is time, but here we are. You suckered me into doing a draft for Survivor on a show that I've seen one season of. So vibes only. I can't wait for me to just pick people and be like completely wrong. I just so excited for it.
Yeah, but of course, we're not going to have a draft with two teams of 10 people. That's a little much.
No, just kidding.
So we are beyond excited today to be joined by international Survivor coverage royalty. First, a man who has the most popular B&B in all of Fiji and is entering his third year as president of the Doral fan club, the great Mike Bloom. What's going on, Mike?
Yeah, let me spit out all the biltong I had in my mouth over the course of this off season. Hello, everybody. Just when you thought 16 plus hours of Survivor South Africa talk was enough before the actual damn season started, we're back to draft. It's feeling a bit drafty in here, but the winds of change are here, and I'm ready to bring home a win for my team, whatever that team may be.
Thank you for saying yes to this. Like, I know it's a lot. Y'all have been doing a lot because Mike is not alone. But in a second,
no, it's just me.
It is actually. It's
the work.
3 teams.
Not so fast, y'all.
Exactly. But we're just so happy that you're here, Mike, and for saying yes and to draft with us. It's wild. It's wild.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love the fact that, I know Jason, I've been watching Survivor South Africa for a bit, Sasha to get a personality such as yourself involved. And I like this as well. This is definitely a different shade than what the person who may or may not be joining us and I have gotten to do the past 16 plus hours of just like banding about. Now we get to sort of like talk about it with other people, which is always a very fun experience as well. So excited to do this, excited to be incredibly wrong with what our thoughts are preseason, because that's the most fun thing, in my opinion, which is very contrary to my partners of just like being wrong is so much fun, everybody.
I love being wrong. What are you talking about? I say as a voice from above, and who knows if I'm even in this podcast.
Well, that's right. You heard her voice. We are also joined by Mike's Ride or Die, the queen of international Survivor coverage and the head justice of the Chizzy Court, the one and only Shannon Guss. Woo! Shannon, how are you?
Thank you so much. Such nice introductions. I should be a guest more often because then people introduce me in such nice ways and I get to be the blanks to people's blanks. So
yeah, that's why I appear on so many podcasts, Shannon. Yeah. It really is just to have people write these like monologues to introduce me for. So I'm glad you learned that lesson eventually.
It's very, very pleasant. But no, thank you so much for having us. It's so nice to be invited. It's so nice to draft, try and put 16 hours of preseason content and all the seasons we've watched and like literally hundreds of hours of thought into a draft. So I won't enjoy being wrong. Like I feel like there's a lot there that I should get right. Like this is my job. Like we shouldn't be getting things wrong, Mike. Like we should be good at this. So I definitely don't want to just get things like hugely wrong for sure.
How much do you know? That's my question. Because I was like, do they know the winner? Like,
can you imagine if Mike and I had a full boot list and we're just in this draft just fighting over like whoever gets the top draft spot is going to win the draft.
It's like the challenge, right? Like what on the challenge is not spoiled at this point?
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, what y'all got?
So that depends. If there were Big Brother people that were on Survivor South Africa, who golly, that would be spoiled up to the nines. But no, luckily, seems like everyone is kept like relatively cool. It's interesting. I think for a returning player season, you'd be like, wow, I can't believe this wasn't spoiled whatsoever. I love her, but it probably doesn't help that Sandra Diaz-Twine is not on this season because it's usually whenever she's associated with the season, there happens to be a big spoiler community that comes out of it. But listen, we're in the dark right now. And so I'm incredibly happy to be able to just like go off of the fantastic opportunities we had to talk to these people before the season, but kind of just go off of that. And to your point, Sasha, vibes and see exactly what's going to happen in less than a week's time.
And because we're already talking about spoilers, I just have to issue our blanket friendly neighborhood spoiler warning. This is a returning player season. So of course, we're going to be mentioning all past seasons of Survivor South Africa. maybe Australian seasons, New Zealand, maybe even the US. You never know. So I want to make
Wait,
sure
maybe
everybody
even
knows.
that was the last one on the list.
Yeah, I love
Oh
that.
my
That's just
God.
how niche we're going. But I'm thinking about it, and I don't want to jinx it. I've never been spoiled on Survivor South Africa.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if I think like the fans have like a reverence for and a respect for the franchise, and the players do. There's no betting markets, which is the dumbest thing alive in some places that have that. And maybe it's just talked about a little less. So it's a good, hopefully good environment for non-spoilers to flourish and to not ruin the season. So fingers
The
crossed.
tough thing is, though, there is a lottery sponsor this season. So, like, is there going to be a game within the game of making lottery bets on
my
who's
God.
going to win the season?
Don't give them ideas, Mike, because that's literally what we do in Australia. It's the dumbest thing of all time. You can bet on markets for things that have happened.
Wow.
It doesn't make sense because they've happened. Like I once got told who won The Bachelor from a friend of a friend, so we put money on The Bachelor winner, and they won. Like, I don't know if I should be admitting that on a podcast. It was like $10. But my point is that like these things have happened. Like what?
Yeah.
Why? It makes anyway. South Africa, as far as I know, does not do that, so we're in a good place with that.
Proud
Yeah.
of you, South Africa.
I also want to say, before we get too far into this, I just want to extend my extreme gratitude and thanks to Shannon and Mike for doing this, because it was really y'all's coverage of Survivor South Africa Philippines that got me so into this version of the franchise. And I'm just so grateful for y'all to create this space where we can talk about the best version of Survivor and have fun. And so I can't believe I'm here doing this preseason draft with y'all. So I just genuinely really appreciate it. And leave the best players for me in the draft because I want to win.
All right, yeah, exactly.
And I'm not spoiled either, but
I wish I was
I'm not
spoiled.
doing that. Yeah.
I
was gonna say, well,
don't like
show your gratitude to us for getting you involved in Survivor South Africa by letting us take the best players. I think that's like,
okay.
Paid the tithe in a manner of speaking.
Nah.
This is making the assumption that Shannon and I are gods of Survivor South Africa.
Well, I did see the
Give us
statues
your
on the
picks.
beach. So
Exactly. We saw your name in production. That's close enough.
Well, we were talking about like what's it going to be, winners take all. So my idea, I don't know what these things are, but I think basically winning should be like catching the snitch. Like you probably will win. Like it's enough points that you'll probably win, but it's not guaranteed. So maybe if we have like 5 points if you win the game, but then like a few other categories, like 7 other categories that are 1 point. So someone could conceivably, like the chasers in Quidditch. Is anyone following this analogy?
Yeah, I
Like,
definitely follow,
conceivably, like get enough other categories and not win that they have like some incredible win. Or maybe we could also have minus points, so someone could win and also minus points. So maybe we should do like a couple of categories. I don't know. Help me out. I'm not getting too complicated, but maybe I don't know the math of this. Like, can someone work out the scale? Like, I'll get a piece of paper and we can work out. The winner will get
trying
a
to
certain
put a
amount.
chessboard on top of the game of life of like, let's complicate this immensely.
Well, it's fun because then it's like you put other things in. Like we could do a category. Well, you wanted to do one for the Chizzy winner, a point.
Maybe 2 points for the Chizzy winner.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say that if that's the case, I'm giving all Chizzy points every week to all of my teammates.
No. We can't corrupt the Chizzy. Mike, as if you would do that. Where is your integrity?
Don't you remember when I got my Chizzy points bought? Like I got bribed for Chizzy points last time.
Yeah, I do, and I'm just continuing
God.
to ask, where's your integrity? So we could do Chizzy. We could do confessionals.
Ooh.
What else do people do in Survivor?
I think we could do. Let's do
confessionals?
1 point for every time they win individual immunity challenge. I think
1
that
point
could
for
be
every time they win. No, I think like 1 point for like most challenges won.
No, absolutely.
Oh,
1 point.
no.
I don't think you understand what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to have like 5 points for a winner and then like 5 other like major categories if you do like the most in the whole season.
Being
'Cause you're
dateable is
making-
definitely a
You're
point.
What is?
Being dateable, making the merge.
Okay, now it's like a very different draft to what I was envisioning. Like this is now like a weekly draft of like points. Like Randy Newpool's gonna have to get involved. Like that's not
That's what I'm saying.
No,
We have
that's
to
not
call
what
Randy
that's not
for
what
this.
I mean, we can. I just thought like if you do 5 points for a winner and then like a few other categories of like you get 1 point for doing like the best thing in the whole season. Like you get the most confessionals. So like 1 point per confessional. But no one else is on board.
Here's what I'll throw out. Maybe we do this. How about this? 5 points first place, 2 points second place.
No,
maybe. Really? You make the
second place
points?
is bad.
Second place is
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
No, it's not.
From first.
This is like a long-term thing where like if you come second, that's often like the worst place to be. Like you could be a goat.
I mean, that's
Listen,
still
but you
second-
made it.
And you
There's
get
other
money.
goats. Exactly.
You don't get money at all. What are you talking about?
I thought the runner-ups get money in South Africa. Is that just
No.
Australia?
No, it's not even in Australia. I think you're thinking of Big Brother.
They
No,
get
that's what I'm
1
saying, like,
rand.
Yeah, I thought that they got, unlike Australia, the runner-ups got money.
No.
My God, International Survivor's cheap AF. Pay your players, LaRue.
What are all
Say-
these sponsors?
What? We're on
for?
production. Don't say that. Okay. Wait. Is no one vibing this concept? You know
First
what I'm like?
boot, -1.
Oh hell.
Okay. Yeah, but first boot -1 is kind of mean because they're definitely not going to win the draft anyway. So it's just going to end from -1 point.
But we need to do something for first boot. It doesn't have to be like points. Like, is it, in not Final Fantasy, in fantasy football, how you have to do something funny? Like,
Oh, yeah.
can we do
Okay.
something
Yeah.
like that?
I think there should be a
Okay.
punishment on the
Yeah.
person.
No, it is good. It is good because then if you get the winner in the first boot, you've minused a point.
hmm
So okay, so you got the winner and they're 5 points, and then you got the first boot and that's -1. And then we're gonna do. I think runner up. Let's give. If you make the final tribal council, because I don't know if it's final 2 or 3, then you get 1 point.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
that
that's
works for me.
fine.
And if you get the most confessionals of the season, you get 2 points.
That works.
30.
And if you win the most challenges of the season, you get 2 points.
What about finding
Okay.
the most idols?
2 points.
No, I don't want to give points to idols.
That's horrible.
Right? It's Modern Survivor, Mike. Get with the times.
So
No,
I
'cause
need
I
to get
also-
all men, is what you're telling me.
Well, I also don't feel like
Yeah,
do
not
you
South
include
Africa.
do you include like advantages in that, or is it just hidden immunity idols?
I think all trinkets.
What about the auction? Maybe who spends the least money or who spends the most money?
We're
Oh,
not
hell.
boiling it down to a
Yeah.
specific episode. No, I'm not like whoever hugs their family member for the longest amount of
Ooh.
time in the family visit.
Ooh, funniest family member.
Oh, yes. This is a lot for me to think about in my draft. So maybe we
I
should
love
make
that
this-
you're actually thinking about it. When I'm like,
I'm very
okay.
much so. Very much so.
Yeah, Shannon's the only kid in this group assignment who did her homework. I feel like.
That's real.
Wait, should we make winner like 7 points? Because I feel like now there's a lot of other
Make
points.
winner 9 points.
9
in honor of
points, yeah.
season
Yeah.
9.
No, well then that's like unbeatable.
Then
Because
final tribal
there aren't
council
even
gets
enough-
4 points, double everything.
Yeah.
No. Stop it, stop. Why would you no? Okay, back to 5 points.
Okay,
Please
back
help.
to 5.
I
Yes,
love that
winner-
Sasha's writing things up to cross it all out.
I know, I really am.
So
I have
diligent,
2
I love it.
different pens for that reason. We're good.
Yeah. I'm so
Uh,
sorry. Okay, winning
winner
5.
Is
Yeah.
5, not
Trinkets
9.
2.
Maybe 5.9. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, let's do decimal points. Let's add that to this.
What
I think-
do you think the chances are that there's going to be a lot of ties for these? Like the trinket idol stuff, I could imagine
Oh.
there's a tie for that across multiple people.
Mhm.
Would they all get 2 points?
I think it's the person that gets the most overall, right?
Right, but
Yeah,
what
we
if
have to-
someone gets a vote steal and an idol, someone gets an idol and like a steal
Well,
a
we
vote?
split it. We split the points.
You split the points. What if there are
We're
4
Team
people?
Solomon.
Did they each get 0.5 points?
Yeah, why?
What if-
Yes.
What if
Yeah.
3 people get it?
0.67.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not going into the freaking Dewey Decimal System for this.
That's not that hard. Don't act like things are hard when they're not that hard.
I like you're saying, like, let's not make Randy Newpol do like a difficult job. Also, let's have everyone do long division.
You don't have to do
calculate who
long
gets
division to
points.
do that. You kind of just have
This
to.
is the most
oh,
American conversation of my
Well,
life.
I also just want to give a big thank you in advance to Isaiah, creator and founder of Silent Podcast, who we are voluntolding to keep score of our draft league
Oh,
because he
no,
loves the
Isaiah.
drafts.
Oh,
Thanks in
wow.
advance, Isaiah.
Incredible word.
Oh, Isaiah.
Incredible.
Oh,
He's gonna bring a
he's
samurai
so-
sword.
Should we throw in some other stuff? Like
Yeah.
No!
So we have
Okay.
winner,
There's like 5
Chizzy,
categories right now.
most confessionals, most challenge wins, or
Mhm.
most
Yeah.
wins. Yeah. Final tribal. That's 2 points also.
well,
I would
one
say-
each.
I
one
would
for
say
anyone who
one
gets the final
each.
tribal.
now
Yeah.
is it most individual challenge wins or whoever has been part of the most challenge wins for the
Ooh.
entire season?
I think entire season.
Oh,
Okay, so if
Winner
so if
take
someone-
all.
So if someone's on a tribe that
That
just
wins, yeah.
dominates in the pre-merge, like they have a good chance of winning automatically.
Looks
Like,
like
doesn't
it.
make much sense, does it? Oh well, we're in now. Too far in the hole. So, and then I think we will minus 2 points for first boot.
Okay.
We get another
Okay.
minus in there. What else can someone do? That's
Minus
bad?
for anyone who quits.
oh, that's good.
Minus 1 point if you quit. Yeah.
Oh, gross.
I don't
Minus
think anyone's gonna
3?
quit. People really want this. People
No,
have been
it's not
trying
my
to get on
fault they're
pages
weak.
to get back.
Absolutely not.
If you draft a quitter, that's on you. I don't think anyone would quit. Like, I really can't imagine anyone from this cast. They were like they all felt just like so happy to get the call. I just
Yeah.
can't
Is
imagine.
quit different from medevac?
Oh my god,
Yes.
imagine we can't take points away from them because they get medivac. Like,
Shouldn't have stepped
Sorry,
on
your
that
body
rock.
couldn't.
yeah. Stepped on that rock. All right. Well, okay, yeah.
And
one
most
point
trinkets is how much?
2.
2. Got it.
Has to be divided between all the winners.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know. Now my whole draft, or I was just doing it like by a winner. Like, I don't really know if I can.
Well, now
You
now
came up with these ideas.
exactly.
I
now you're
know,
back-
but only 5 minutes ago.
you're back down with us plebs, us groundlings that like didn't prepare whatsoever for this. Now you're in the
Absolutely
same
not.
category as us.
Yeah.
Now I have to not only think about all of these things, but scale them against each other.
This is
Like, this
wild.
person's quite likely to win, but are they less likely to find trinkets? My gosh, physical's important now. Can we come back in 5 minutes while I write some stuff down?
Nope. No writing
Here
allowed
we
from now
are.
on.
I'm just gonna go with my draft order. It's all good.
Oh,
So
all
God.
good.
Now
So-
to determine the draft order, well, Sasha, you're finalizing the notes, right, and the scores. We're going to
Yes.
pick the draft order.
Yes.
And so I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to use a random.org list generator, and we're going to do it 3 times to get our official draft order.
Why?
To make sure that the finger's not on the button.
That the
I mean,
odds
it
are ever in our
it's-
favor.
quite literally is in this point, but
Okay.
It's
I
to
can
make sure
figure-
it's really random. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, most chizzy. Are we doing a punishment for the loser? Which will probably be me.
Oh, I thought you meant for the loser of the season. I'm like, most
I
of
think
them
the
will
loser
lose.
has to drink Biostrath.
Oh.
I can't get that from South Africa again. So
You can make your own.
Oh,
get my
Lord.
yeast.
Yeah, bathtub Biostrath.
And
Someone needs to start
that's how
a
I
Twitch
die.
channel because of this.
Wait, so what does the winner get though?
Ooh. It's the way I know I won't be the winner, so like I don't even think about that.
You never know. I mean, if someone had drafted Tom in Philippines, like that person would have
Wow.
done the least prep, right? And they would
That person would have been
won.
that
True.
your friend who put in $10 on The Bachelor and came out with like $10 million.
Bingo.
I put in $10 on the Bachelor.
My
Because of me.
friend.
Friend. Oh
So
my god.
So
okay,
I'm going
what
to generate the
winner
list.
get?
Let's think about it while we're doing this.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you can see I did it in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So we'll randomize it once. Oh, one more time.
Oh.
Oh, I don't want this order.
What?
Pressure on picking first. The final order we're going to have, is me, Jason, picking first. Wow. Followed by Mike, followed
nice.
by Sasha,
Oh
followed
hell.
by Shannon.
Extreme foul play going
Wow.
on.
Horrible. What was the first one?
Jason.
I'm
No,
not
sorry,
sure.
I
I think
missed
it was Shannon first, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Oh, that's
So
why
it-
you clicked 3 times.
It did give us in alphabetical order, which was unexpected. So we're
Doesn't seem
also
that random to me.
important to mention this is going to be a snake draft.
Okay.
Mm.
So
well, that's
whoever
good.
has the 4th pick is going to pick again back to back and throughout each round.
Wish I hadn't told Mike my whole order on the podcast.
I know. I was gonna say like now, like listen, it's very interesting in that Shannon, you essentially turned your cards to face me, right? You gave your winner pick away. I've yet to do
Not
that.
just my winner pick.
Ooh.
Everything. I
exactly.
gave like every single opinion I've had about this cast.
Exactly.
Oh,
So are you all
God.
ready to start the draft?
Mm-hmm.
Dun 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 dun. I am on the clock. I'm going to share my screen so we can see the tier list while I decide who to pick. I was not expecting to get the first pick. So now I have to think about my top people if they are first pick worthy. Who's going to get the call?
All right, Kamish, let's do this.
I still think that this is just not the right draft order. They sure didn't do it 4 times.
We can make trades though. If I pick someone you really want,
What? This is so complicated. Like you can
we're
trade
making up the rules as
people.
we go, right?
Listen,
Oh
we're
my
building the
God.
plane as we go, as every like cool startup says.
So as you can see, I've listed both tribes on the bottom row, the pre-merge Yontao tribe on the top, the Masu merge tribe on the bottom.
Dante and his twin Fonte.
With 4 people at the right that I couldn't delete off the tier maker list. Don't sponsor Silent Podcast, your difficult website. So I'm going to go first. And this is where I really don't know who to pick. I'm going back and forth between a few people, thinking who's going to come back to me with the 8th pick. So I'm going to have to pick the person who I want the most, who I want to see win the most, that I've been cheering for since their original season. And it's going to be the Queen, Palessa.
Oh, damn.
All
Mike,
right.
you are on the clock.
Oh, okay. We're not even discussing.
What do y'all think? She's the first pick. Was she on the top of y'all's list, the bottom of y'all's list?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to hear most from Sasha, because you are someone who, I mean, again, talking about vibes, like, I'm not even sure if you know what a Palessa is.
I'm sure you do.
No, like I said, I'll never show up to a podcast like completely vibes only because I don't have that much chutzpah in life. But I looked them up is the point, and I like watched a few videos. I obviously listened to y'all, and then I read their bios, like, and that's where it ended. So that was my number 1 pick because Queen energy. I don't know. I like everything about her. I like how she looks. Also, folks were saying that they might want to work with her, so that's why. I don't know. Queen energy. That's why. That's literally what I put. Queen energy should pick her.
Yeah, I mean, Palessa's definitely my top half, which is surprising considering I think that she has one of the biggest targets. But I actually think that she could do really well. She wasn't going to be in my first couple of picks, but I do think that she is a better pick than you'd think, considering like what a reputation she comes in with. I also want to say the requisite, I'm seeing double here for Dante's.
Don Dante and the rest of the mafia.
We all get a Dante.
It's a free Dante.
It's the free space on your bingo card.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a Dante.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore Palessa, and I agree with Shannon that I think, despite the fact that she probably is one of the bigger names coming into this cast, definitely on the post-merge tribes, maybe besides Chappies and like the combined might of Shane and Marion. You know, I think the way that she came across in her first season was, yes, while she was a bit of a trinket finder, she was a loyal person at the end of the day. Yes, she was a bit mouthy and obviously was not afraid to tell people off when she needed to, but she ended up saying in her interview that like one of her issues was that she actually was almost too upfront with people. And so I think that's actually a good quality to have in an ally. So assuming that it's not a case where, you know, Shannon and I have talked to death all the random configurations of people in the post-merge tribe in particular, like, as long as it's not they decide to leave Palessa on the outs within all these different groupings, I think she could at least make a good dent into things. I don't know if we're going to necessarily face like an all-stars situation, right? Where, oh, she's the biggest name, let's vote her out early. She placed 8th in her original season. We're not exactly looking at like Tina Wesson here necessarily.
Yeah. And I don't think she's going to be the biggest target on her tribe because there's so many duos on that tribe and an even bigger target. So I think she might be able to build alliances, get to the second half of the game, and really work her magic and get to the end. I would love to see her crowned the winner of this season.
That's a good point. That is a good point, because I do think that she and Chappies are easily the 2 biggest targets individually, but not when you compare them to the power of pairs, which she doesn't have, and there are so many pairs. So yeah, that's very optimistic. I think it's a good pick.
Not very optimistic.
No, I think that it is. Like it
is.
I think that like I'm now feeling better even about Palessa's chances. So that's how I want to feel. Like I want Palessa to do very well. So I feel good about it.
Mike, you're on the clock.
All right. This pick is mostly out of glee, but partially out of spite, because Shannon picked Dino as her winner pick on our podcast. And I kind of love the idea of like, if she wins, I win, in a manner of speaking, in this draft. Not to mention, I think the chap, not Chappies, is a pretty damn good pick proper. He was definitely in like my top 4 or 5 in general, even before she made the declaration.
Yeah.
So help me, Paul. Help me, Jason. Move Dino's pick right up next to my name.
I knew you would.
Ding, ding, ding. Same.
Yeah.
Because you knew he'd never fall back to you, obviously.
Yeah,
Oh,
there are certainly some people that I have up there. I've been explicit about that as well, and I'm like, there's a good chance if Dino falls to Sasha or Shannon, he's getting picked. So like, let me put the guy on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna pick him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a great pick. I think Dino has a really strong chance to go far in this game. I think he could run his starting tribe. He knows what to do. He's a big fan of Survivor, and I think really wants this second chance and wants to prove himself to us. And I think he's going to be playing really hard, really fast. And I'm excited to watch him back on our screens.
And a lot of people want to work with him,
Yeah.
which that was a big thing, I think, for me. And then he has Threeso and Pinty as well. So that's why I was like, ooh, this could mean a lot. And he's smart. And I will say my favorite thing about Dino was that he said he's playing this time with nothing to lose. And nothing to lose, or he has nothing to like show off anymore. And that's why I feel like he's going to breathe a little bit and play better is what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think even if he doesn't win, I think if he makes it far, he has a good chance of getting that confessional award of these superlatives. I think that he is someone who is a great personality, and I would imagine, especially if there's a Chappies who goes out early and there's a Dino to focus on instead, it's almost like him and Chappies can be inverse of each other in season 8, right? Where like Chappies went on to have the most confessionals in the season. I think Dino, if he lasts long enough, I mean, God forbid if he doesn't end up winning, at least I'd be able to get some consolation points. And that I do think he's a big personality as well and has a good chance of getting that confessional award at the end.
I've just spent so much of this preseason hyping up Dino. Like, I think I need some balance and just it's like, nah, he's not that good a pick, Mike. I wouldn't have gone that way.
Oh
it
my
was pretty
God.
bad.
You're like, he won't make the merge.
Poor Dino. I hope it goes well for him. We have spent so much, like the pressure on Dino. Like under any post, it's like people rooting for Dino. We have spent now going into like our 17th or so hour, just like hyping up Dino. If he does not do so well, I'm gonna feel so bad. So
the good news is like he's already done it, right? He went out and did it before any of us were hyping up Dino online.
Well, I still was in my mind, but
yeah, but outside of that, like if you're counting for everyone who's hyping you up in your own mind, it's an exercise in insanity. But at least at this point, there is a little bit of release, at least for like if I was in his shoes of like what's done is done. I already did it. If people are rooting for me and I go out first, it sucks. But like, hey, that doesn't affect me whatsoever. I'm not like standing on the free throw line and I choke at the last second.
No, it's so much worse because he knows how he's done. So he's listening to all of us with that knowledge. And if it wasn't good, then that is like extremely painful.
Dino YOLO.
Yeah, he's fine. No, good. You're going to win. Go Dino.
No pressure.
Yeah.
All right, Sasha. You're on the clock. Who is going to be
my picks?
The first
my
pick of your team
are gone, but it's okay because I have another one because there are a lot of villains on this season. So I was like, okay, maybe an all villains team is my vibe.
I mean, they could literally like accidentally do that. Because there's so many of them.
Exactly. So again, another person I was looking at, like, because I was looking at who said they want to work with people because that's going to be a huge thing. Shane came up a lot. And I was like, okay, I think even though he is older, I feel like he has already felt control in his game. And then his bio says he became complacent and allowed himself to get played. So he said that about himself. So I'm praying that means Shane, you can get it together a little bit and make some moves. And he has a duo, correct? Like he has someone.
Yeah.
So So that's why I'm like, I think my man could do it. Also, all of the other tribe wants to work with him. So if my guy makes merge, I feel like he has some allies on the other side.
I couldn't even see him in those pictures because I was like looking for the evil goatee, but it's a picture.
This is a pre-goatee photo.
This is his season 5 photo when he went like now he's gone like full super
darker timeline.
Yeah, which is what I love. What I would adore about a Shane win personally would be like, Sasha, you're manifesting something that I would love to see because it's been such a great thing to follow in the preseason coverage that Shannon and I did. Was to your point, Sasha, all the people that like would love to work with Shade. And Shane very much having that kind of like grouchy vibe of like, I don't know if I want to work with these people. Like if Shane accidentally finds himself in the most powerful position in the game, not to say it would be completely by incident, because again, he was one of the biggest power players in season 5, ran that pre-merge tribe. And even when he got completely flummoxed at the merge vote in champions, like was able to hang on long enough. I think there's a chance he might be our trinket finder of the season as well, considering he was able to find 2 idols over the course of the
Well,
game.
steal.
So, exactly. So yeah, I'm really excited for Shane in general. If he won, that would be wild. I don't see him as like a possible winner, but God, I'd love to live in that universe.
Yeah, I just feel like he can make it. He can make it far, and he's high up on my list because of it. And he said he wants to work with women more than men. So like that's already like I need you on my team for that reason.
And I think it's been long enough since he played that his threat level has gone down. You know, they're not seen as the most recent duo with some of the other pairs on their tribe. And I think he might try to use that and say, oh, I'm older, like keep me around. And that tribe might try to buy him stock with other people. But I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he could find the most trinkets. Like to get voted out with 2 idols, it also means that he had 3 idols. So like he had a lot of trinkets. Like there's the good part of that. He could definitely get the most confessionals. Like if he makes it far, I think he's actually like a really good pick for that. My only concern with Shane, like he is a top 10 pick for me in the draft, but I just feel like, can Shane win? Like would this cast allow that? Like if they do, I think that's like a really big miss on a lot of people's parts because he's such like a clear threat. There's no hiding it. He's obviously smart. He's obviously good at the game. It's not like he's going to sneak up on anyone. So if he wins, he's like bodied his way to the end in a really impressive way. But then a lot of people have allowed that to happen in a way that they should be ashamed of. So I don't know if he can win, but if he does, it'll be super impressive. He's got a lot of good things going for him and he could definitely get some of the other points. And I don't see him being first boot or anything like that.
No, exactly. I just needed a safe pick. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So Shannon, you are now on the clock. You have back-to-back picks.
Yeah.
We're excited to hear who you're taking for your squad.
Well, I didn't get Dino, but I will take the other 2 of my top 3. So I'll take Meryl first.
Yeah.
And then I'll take Tajan.
Yeah, Shannon, very high on. Tajan was the last interview that we did, and we had a lot of fun talking with him, or I had a lot of fun just listening to like how much into orgs he is, because it's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah. So to talk through the picks, so yeah, I mean, Meryl I'm very high on as well. Was between her and Dino when we were doing the interviews on who I would take as winner pick. I think, you know, we called her like a triple threat. Like she's a Pilates instructor, so physical, she's social, she's found idols, so she's strategic. I don't think she got to show it enough last time, but I think that if she kind of gets some opportunity there, we could see a lot. So she could win challenges, she'd get the trinket points, she's fun, she could get confessional points. And same with Tajan. He could win challenges, he had an idol. And he could also get confessional points. And I think they both have like a really good shot to win. So I think they're 2 like really strong all-rounders. So very excited to have them both.
Yeah,
I would also say they both stand a chance of getting the challenge points as well.
Yeah,
like,
Meryl's
exactly.
handles
literally move with Meryl. Like I think if they're doing more of these Modern Survivor individual challenges of like stand and balance and hold something, Meryl could be a chalk pick to do well with that.
Yeah, I'm giving your picks an A+, Shannon. These are 2 people that were so high on my list. I was considering both of them with the first overall pick. I agree with everything we've said about Meryl. I think she could easily win the game, and I just think she has so much more to prove in her game that we didn't see in her first time. And I recently watched the Maldives season, and Tajan is amazing. He was so good, and I thought when he got voted out at 7, if he didn't, he could have won. I really think so, because he could have, I think, stated a case at Final Tribal on why he deserved to win, how he overcomes adversity, he creates alliances, he's the survivor conniver, and I think he's going to be great TV.
Yeah, they're both also very affable people, very easy to get along with. Like, I don't see any first boot potential. Like, the only thing would be if everyone's just like, oh, Tajan's kind of like really like a clear outlier, no one else from his season. But there's just so much other conflict and there's so much else going on in that tribe that I can't imagine they could all get together to kind of have that consensus. So I think they're both long for the game. I think they're both going to have a lot of opportunity to win some of those categories and maybe even the game. So yeah, very happy to have them both.
Sasha, it's back to you.
Oh, darn. Yeah, Tajan was my second pick for sure. So bummer there, because I was like, maybe Shannon won't pick him, even though she said she liked him. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm very high on Tajan.
I know. Here we are. But anyway, I think we're going to go with villains again. And I'm going to pick the first, truest villain, female villain. And I think I'm going to pick Marianne.
Oh, you got Shane and Marion on the
Wow.
same team.
That's either gonna go one way or the other. Like that's either gonna go
Exactly.
very well or very poorly, I feel.
Yeah,
He
I just feel like
reunited.
the other, I feel like the other tribe just like I don't know that they're gonna win a lot pre-merge. So
That's what we're gonna throw challenges. That's been my whole prediction the whole time.
Mhm.
Like they don't look like they should lose at all, but
yeah,
also
unless they
I just
throw.
see them throwing challenges to take out people they don't like. Like that's exactly what I see.
No, I adore Marion. I think that listen, you're doing a nice job of hedging your bets by picking them both because I do think if Shane and Marion were on the chopping block, I think Shane goes over Marion. The only reason
Mhm.
why Marion went over Shane at the merge in the first place is because they knew Shane had an idol because he went and
Mhm.
told them that he had an idol. So they were like,
No,
okay,
well, the reason she went is because he was protected.
right. Well, that's the thing. He
Yeah.
played the idol, and so
Yeah.
she ended up going. It was more
Yeah.
so of like a okay, we'll pile votes on her as a secondary thing, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, oh my god, we're completely blindsided by this. And so I think she has just a really fantastic head for the game. She clearly is somebody that is just like obsessed with it, but also again has a bit of social play. Yes, she is known as a villain, but like she had social capital to build to get to that place in the first place where she could run the tribe alongside Shane. So if she brings that energy again,
Mhm.
and as long as like she and Shane are not too much in the spotlight of everybody else, I do think Marion has a chance of making it pretty far. And like if she builds good relationships, I think that is one of her best qualities that she could really utilize.
And she's connected, it seems like,
Yeah.
with a lot of
Yeah.
people, like,
Yeah.
outside, right? So that's another
Very
thing I
much.
liked about her that, again, it could go either way where it's like, are they like, "Oh, she's been to all the charity events, we've seen her, we know her, she's out," or they're like, "Nah, we're just, like, friends, so I can't." So I'm hoping it's the other. We'll see.
Yeah. She's like a cornerstone of the community. I mean, don't forget that
Wow.
when she
Yeah.
was on our podcast last season, she gave Dino a chili point, like out of well, he was doing some good stuff, but like they're friends. Like I'm not saying that
Yeah.
it was a personal thing, but like they have a connection as Dino does with everyone. There's a lot of people in this cast that are community based, and Marion's definitely
Mhm.
like kind of at the top of that as well. So
I mean, the question is he going to bring that up? Should they have a swap or something?
yeah.
I
Hey,
could
remember when you
see
gave
it.
me the chizzy point? Well, I'm gonna get chizzy points for this, and you like votes her out.
I mean, it's a rare thing. There's
Yeah.
only I think a few of these people. I think it might only be Marion and Tevin who we've had on the
Mhm.
podcast who have and Palessa as well, who have given out points.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah. And I don't remember who Tevin or Palessa gave points to, but I remember that Marion gave Dino a point because that was the point that he got. And also Dino said it on Twitter recently. So, and that reminded me, and I was like, oh yeah, connection.
Yeah.
So it's good to think about.
And I don't think she's going to be the first boot, no matter how it goes, because of
No.
everything we're saying. So I think it's a really safe pick, and we'll see how they do together as this duo you've picked.
Listen, had to do what I had to do.
So, Mike, you're on the clock. Who are you going to take with your next pick?
Well, look, we picked 4 post-merge people in a row. Let's make it 5. Let's continue the streak here.
Oh my god. Pre-merges.
Well,
Wait,
listen,
Dino is not.
Dino?
Right? Yeah, Dino.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Dino
We've
was the
had-
lone person.
yeah,
but
otherwise,
I'm gonna pick someone who I think, to your point, Sasha, might be more well connected than Marion. I'm taking Tony here.
Oh, good pick.
Yeah,
That's
I
a good
think
one.
on the one hand, yes, I think what she is known for, which is sort of like her emotional outbursts, obviously can be a negative emotion, but I really do feel like that's not who she is primarily as a player and as a person. I think she is a great relationship builder. She is someone who like worked her ass off in the community between hosting orgs with a good number of these players, sometimes between like participating in the community in general. It just seems like between like the recent life events that she's undergone, it did seem like she's walking into the show with like a better, clearer head about things and a better understanding about herself. And so I think combine that with her strength, with her like pretty good gameplay brain, I would say. Let's not forget the fact that like she was one of the key forces, I think, in the pre-merge and all of those iterations. I think Tony is set up really well to begin. As long as she takes that capital and kind of like spins straw into gold, I have pretty high chances for her making it far.
Yeah, I don't see her going first at all. I mean, I see a lot of connections for her, a lot of possibilities. I'm also laughing because I only just spotted the third Dante.
This was a great pick, Mike. Tony was definitely on deck for me to be one of my next 2 picks. I think everything we've said, she's going to bring it. I think she's a real threat to win if she can connect the dots and use everything she's gained since her time on the show. She's such a student of the game. She's connected to people, and I think she has what it takes. She's not afraid to make big moves. She'll find idols. She can win challenges also. She's in great shape, and very likable.
Just thinking about how long it is to my next pick, I'm like, oh my God, I don't think anyone that I want is going to make it there.
So with my next pick, I'm torn between a few people.
But you get two. So that was lucky.
I know, you get two of them.
Do I keep going with the post-merge tribe, or do I mix it up with a pre-merge tribe? I'm going to pick someone who I just have loved since her original season just 1 year ago. Thorizo, come to Team Jason.
Nice.
I want to pick her. I'm all in.
Queen.
I have loved her since 2021.
Yeah, it's like that Brooklyn Nine-Nine meme. It's like, I've only had Teresa for like 4 minutes, but if anything happened to her, I'd kill like myself and everyone in this room.
We defend her to the end. Everyone who isn't, follow her on Twitter if you need wholesome content.
Listen, friend of the podcast.
Yeah, friend of the podcast. She's a student of the game, and I think she really reflected on her time last season. She knows what she did wrong, and I think that's really valuable, and she knows what she can improve on. And I think she's definitely going to make the merge. She's definitely has a chance at finding idols. And I think she could make it to the end game if the cards go right for her.
See, I think the potential is extreme.
Yes.
But I worry about pitfalls. Like, I think that if she doesn't get the chance to show how she's changed, there might be some reputation stuff. It might be some physical stuff where it doesn't work out. I do think that if like she has a real chance to fit in because she's with like a lot of other super fans, and like Teresa, I just like feel like just never got her footing. She just needs to get the footing, and I think she'll be fine. But I worry that she maybe won't be allowed to from a physical perspective or from a reputation perspective, and then there could be some early boot potential. Definitely not what I want. Like, I still had a pretty high, like around the halfway mark of picks. So yeah, maybe kind of around here or maybe slightly lower. But I don't know. I'm just concerned. I think because I want so badly for her to do well.
Yeah.
I'm just like nervous about it.
Yeah, I think if she's able to get some social stuff going, she's good. But because her reads last year were out of control. Like, she's so good. She knew where things were and what was going on. But it was those three, Nicole and the other two, and I can't remember.
Amy and Marisha.
Nicole and her peons. Yeah. Even though I think the edits represented it more so as like Amy and her peons.
Exactly. Amy and Nicole and Marisha. Thank you. So if they weren't as like tight and amazing, would Thorizo have maybe a better chance? Maybe. So I'm hoping Dino and Thorizo can do something with that super fan thing, because they were on the same tribe. Also.
Get justice for Zamba, although Zamba did win the season, but their justice for their version of Zamba.
Justice for that streak of like 2 episodes when only Zamba people went and it looked dire.
Yes.
No, justice for the Zamba outsiders, justice for Keon. That's all. Those were the 3.
Oh, yeah.
In the majority. That's it.
Oh, remember Keon?
Yeah, I love her.
So if they can get it going, they'll be able to do that. Like, I don't know how involved Teresa is in the community, but obviously she knows Dino, and hopefully, like she didn't play with Pine Teeth, but like she might know Pine Teeth through that. Maybe they can get something going and do like a season 8 led thing in the pre-merges.
I like it.
I want to see it. My next pick, and I'm torn still between 2 people, but I'm kind of deciding, do I pick this one, with my head, who I think has a great chance to win, with my heart again of someone I want to love, or do I just go with my gut? And I'm going to Chappie's Diner. I have a reservation after this podcast.
Wow.
Bring him to my team. I'm picking Homer's. My face.
Interesting. So
that's optimistic. Like, if we want to talk about optimism,
if you had picked Dino first, you would have had all the season 8 representation in one team.
But he didn't. So.
Shout out another friend of the podcast. I know he's a big target. There's an enormous threat on his back. Obviously, we all watched him play last season, but I think he's used to being at the bottom. He definitely can find idols. He will sneak food out in the middle of the night, and he will probably propel his tribe to win challenges. He's probably the strongest person on his tribe, so he has to do his best to ensure they don't go to tribal. But it's a risky pick.
Well, if he makes it far, he doesn't even need to win because you've got more than the winner points on just confessionals,
Yeah, he's gonna get
challenges,
everything.
and trinkets. Possibly, like you
Yeah.
could definitely accumulate that way. And like as much trouble he's in, like surely not first boot potential. But then Shane
No.
said in the interview, like I just
Yeah.
think since January, my heart has just been in my stomach since Shane said, if he's on the season, I'm gonna get him out first. And I was like,
Yeah,
Okay.
but is
And
Shane gonna be able to
Marianne, right?
convince at least 5 other people to do it?
yes,
4,
I
guess,
think
considering.
Shane could. Like he's a master manipulator. People seem drawn to him. He's scary. Like
mean,
I
we'll
would do
see.
what he says.
He is.
How
Like,
jealous will Dante get? You know, is also another quick question. I mean, listen,
all the Dantes.
I love Chappies. I've been loving him since 2021. He's a fantastic character. Yeah, I do have a fear that if Masu just doesn't give an F about challenges or like camp life whatsoever, he'd be gone. But he could very much like Russell Hans this, where like if you just give him a little bit of leverage and he works his way out of like a little bit of situations. Let's remember he did find some advantages,
Yeah.
did have an idol played on him as well. Like certainly is capable of worming his way out of there, or at least like if he's in a situation where everyone on his tribe doesn't want him to win and he could easily like single-handedly win challenges for his tribe sometimes. So like if there was one person I put stock in being able to just keep himself afloat through immunity challenges, ironically enough, after he was the guy that saved 2 people from drowning in his season, it probably would be Chappies. And that has to be, in my opinion, the best guarantee of him making it to the merge again.
Yeah. He also did find all those clues that Smash left for him, so he can find things.
As long as the challenge producers are on the same level as Anella and Sean in terms of
Oh my god.
But yeah, I think that as far as he can get as a victory, like for us all,
Yeah.
like I think we'll enjoy
Yeah.
it. I think it'll be fun to watch. I just hope that there aren't targets on him, which they clearly are, like preseason. But if
Yeah.
it's immediate, like I can see him muscling his way through and somehow finding a way through. But I don't know if I can see it so far into the game.
No.
Like I think he's gonna have the heat on him, obviously pre-day 1. So yeah, like okay, if he makes it to like day 14, that's really impressive. Like that's a long time of fighting through that target, but it's still only day 14. So if he can make it even further, if he can make it through a merge and really, really far, not even to win, but just to make it far, that would be a very bright timeline. But I'm just so scared for him.
Aren't we all? Mike, you're up next. Who do you want to join your team?
Well, I like to continue the patterns. Jason, you went post-merge, pre-merge, post-merge. I went pre-merge, post-merge. Let me add another pre-merger onto the pile here to continue this lovely double-decker sandwich I have going on. I'm picking Tevin here.
Oh,
Stop taking my picks
Damn.
that I told you about in the podcast.
Leave one
Like,
Indian
this
is so
for
Good
me.
pick.
God,
I'm reading
this is
your
horrible.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
almost picked Tevin, but
Yeah, I mean, I think Tevin is somebody
good.
who is like just has a lot of great soft skills for the game. Again, he was in a really, really good position, and it just so happened in an episode, a random day on Survivor, like the unthinkable happened, and his closest ally just woke up and chose violence and said, "I don't want to work with you anymore." I think that Tevin has since sort of in the mold of Dino. I think I'm going to call my team like Team Calm Down, because he also, much like
Yeah,
Dino,
you need
much
to
like
calm
Tony,
down.
is coming in being like, okay, like this time he received what he did 30 rules of Survivor last time. Now he's walking in with like maybe 5 at that. He realizes that scripting things out so much ahead of time is not necessarily how you play. It's more about adaptability. It's more about just molding yourself to the circumstances. I think it seems like in the pre-merge tribe, at least, there are a couple people. I don't imagine him being the first boot. I think I talked about this on the podcast with Shannon. Like, I think whether or not he wants to be, I think he's going to be pegged as the leader of this tribe. I think he's a physical asset. I think he's enough of a strategic force to like get himself into a good position. And then once he hits that merge or a swap, he has PK, he has Tony. Right there.
Oh
Thick
yeah,
as
he has
thieves.
PK.
Yeah.
That went so well last time. That's good.
Well, it's a bond forged in ink this time around. And so I think that maybe Tevin would be the one to exact revenge, but at least that's 2 guaranteed relationships. So there might be a chance that Tevin gets sort of recognized as a kingpin in a manner of speaking. Like he almost befalls the same fate as Werner of like, okay, he's too much of a leader. We've got to get him out here. But I think that Tevin has a good shot of setting himself up to go far, and as long as he's able to like work his way through, maybe win a couple of challenges along the way, I think he has a pretty sizable chance of winning this.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And I'm most curious to see the dynamic between him and Dino once they're actually on the beach in the game. I see them both as strategists And I feel they're either going to work together or they're going to work to get the other person out. And I am just curious to see how that plays out, knowing, like you said, Tevin has these 2 tight allies on the other tribe. And will that put a big target on his back to ensure he doesn't get to them in the merge?
Yeah, I think any issues with Tevin are just about the way that he's perceived. Like, it's crazy that he's a pre-merger, but I think he's a bigger threat than even many of the post-mergers. Like, his name is pretty iconic from what it was in the season. He was known as a really good player, and I think people would know that it wasn't really his fault that he left. So he's got skills that didn't necessarily come back to bite him like they did a lot of the other players who at least you're like, oh, well, that's why that person lost. Like, maybe I can leave it for a little bit and that will happen again. Like, Tevin is a clearly really good player. I think people will know that. I think that reputation is really high. In saying that, like, then he does have the skills and possibly the relationships to make it far. So yeah, he was a top 5 pick for me. So Mike, get out. Stop it.
Oh, okay. Now
Sasha,
I'm really
who are you thinking about taking next?
See, so now I know I need to take someone.
What if you just took an entire alliance? Like the person who would most likely work with Shade and Marion.
No. Okay. I'm choosing between 2, is what I'm struggling with. Like, do I just go one tribe strong at this point, or do I spread the wealth? And I'm struggling because I feel like this person is wild, and do I just do it for YOLO? And maybe I do. You know what? Screw it. I think I'm gonna take PK.
Oh,
There we go. Tevin and PK back to back like they always wanted.
Oh my god, I think if we're gonna make team names, I feel like Sasha's team needs to be just like Team Chaos. Like, I don't like between the 3 of them, like there's havoc to be reigned. So yeah, your team is gonna do some damage at the very least.
Yeah.
Listen, they're a mess, and that's what I came in with because I wanted other people, but it is what it is.
I think he's a good pick. I do want to say he is fellow podcaster Gia Worthy's favorite Survivor South African player.
Yeah.
Wow.
PK is
Got
the person
Gia
she
seal
was
of approval.
most excited to see back.
He's
I think
Gia Worthy, if you will.
Oh.
I think
She
he
should use
can
that
go
as
far.
a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's her
She should
seal
do
of
that as a
approval.
list.
Gia, write that down. Trademark.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I think he's again maximum chaos. I don't know that he wins, but I could see him going a little far because of just all the mess. So let's see.
I think the thing about PK is that he is known for doing this thing, but like I do feel like towards the tail end of his time, he was more so known for being an underdog. And I think it depends on how people might view him, right? Maybe when he's just with Tony, it's a little bit less of a thing. Because considering like he turned on Tevin when they were in a tribe of 4, which I think is a much bigger deal than like in a tribe of 10. He might appear at least at the outset as having fewer numbers. But I do think if Tony does well, I think PK is going to do well as well. Like I can't imagine her ever wanting to ditch him necessarily, because I think he was loyal to her throughout the entire time in the game, even if it meant stabbing Tevin in the back. So I would imagine he's going to be loyal to Tony most out of anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the mess thing, I mean, so Sasha, I'm not sure if you were aware of this. You did.
I don't know where you're going with it. Could be anywhere.
You drafted 2 people back to back who used to kick it. So.
Oh, I knew that.
I
didn't know if I could share that on the podcast, so I didn't. But yes.
This whole team, the fact that it's Shane and Marion, then Marion and PK. Sasha's team. Someone should get them in a room together, which they will. It's called the season. So chaos.
God.
I mean,
I feel like sorry, go ahead.
No, I love PK. Like I as well. Like he's one of my favorite Survivor South Africa characters or like Survivor characters ever. I truly love PK. Like it's like in my heart, like the way that we just love Survivor South Africa Philippines and like we're on that journey of madness. And I feel like so much of that was through him and it just like has a special place in my heart. In saying that, like my concern has been that the PKOS is still very much there and that he thinks that he's like calm and collective now, to quote Rodney. Yeah. And like he's not. Like the interview was like the wildest interview of all time. That was Shane's, honestly. So many of those were like, when you talk to like a human being, but then you talk to a Survivor character, and those two things are different. Like so many of the interviews were that. And I think PK thinks he's like normalized to a point that he has it. and I'm a
he's
little bit
his
concerned
normal.
about that. Yeah, but it's his normal, but like it's P Chaos still.
And I think his normal, the P Chaos, is going to take the target off my most recent pick, Chappies, because Chappies will be working around camp, doing stuff, and PK will just be being PK, and it'll put all the eyes onto him.
Yeah, at
I'm
least
just
Chappie's didn't
praying.
see someone
Yeah,
from
we get like confessionals from him of the hookup situation. Like that's
Oh.
honestly why I was like, maybe I'll get a lot of confessionals out of it.
No, this makes sense. Like Sasha, you are true mess magnets in everything that you do. This is like
this
a
is
blind
the
item,
mess
right?
magnet team, 100%, 100%.
100%.
Like, did you want to choose people who have romantic entanglements on the cast? Like, you've got 2 of them. Did you want to choose people who are known as like the biggest villains or chaos makers in Survivor history? Like, you have 3 of them. Like, did you want to you've
I
like
love it.
the messiest?
I will say I
players.
don't like the underdog story. Like it's not for me. Like I think it's
Mm.
cute, but I don't I'm just like not a fan. Like I want people that are just like Kool-Aid man, like we'll punch through the wall and just make it happen. That's why I mean, then maybe this whole season isn't for me. But it's just I don't know. I want people that are just like hot mess that I'm gonna be like, what are you doing? But I love it. You're my problematic character. You know, that's what I want.
Yeah.
100%. There's so many. You have to call your team mess magnets, but there's so many ways it could go because it's just. It is like
No,
literally just
you have to
3 of
be-
the biggest, most insane characters.
Well, I think if you pick only post mergers, it has to be called Mesu magnets, does it not?
Oh.
Yeah. I think
Listen, I was trying not to, but I was like, no, let's just do it.
We love
Yeah.
a themed draft.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, PK, like I want PK to do well. Like I really, really love PK. I think he's such a good pick to return as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, I like the
You
interview
can't
that we
spell
did.
pick without PK.
Exactly. And I've said it before that like, when we did the interview, I said some people will send an interview off the rails so far that it will weigh on my mind for 5 months. And PK did that. And that's why he gets cast on Survivor twice. You know, like he's great casting.
Give me confessionals.
Yeah. Team
Yes.
Good TV.
It's gonna be that is literally Team Good Feeds is PK all the way. So
Yeah.
I had a top 7, and I have my last 2 picks of the 7
Top
left.
7.
Tevin was in it, but you took him from me, so I can't say top Tevin anymore. I could have called it top Tevin, but now that would seem pretty stupid. But I still have some people. So Marion was in it, she's gone. Tevin, Dino, but I can take my other 2. So I'm gonna take Seamus.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my other one that I was like,
Yeah.
pick your shame.
I was debating between Tevin and Seamus because I think Seamus is like major X Factor, probably goes in with like the least amount in terms of a just a typical like what was it, reputation just because he was the first boot. Granted, he was very high profile in his first episode, but he only has 3 days to his name. So I think nobody's going to be looking at him, in my opinion, to vote him out first. He talked in my interview with him about like how devastated he'll be if he does get voted out first. But like, I don't think it's going to happen. And I think once that he gets that ball rolling, he has a good head about the game. As long as he calms down, he is athletic. And so I think Seamus can make a good dent in the game.
Yeah. So I do think like I feel like where PK is like, you know, we talk about crazy characters versus regular people. Like PK is still crazy character. Seamus, I think now it's just like a regular nice guy. Like that's what I got from his interview is it was a lot of introspection, and a lot of skills to put that introspection into practice to really be very different. And he's a wild card. People don't know a lot about him, but I don't think that's going to be threatening. Like I think he could just fit in. He's almost kind of like a newbie on the cast. So a newbie who's learned all the hard lessons of what you shouldn't do. So I think he's in a really good spot.
I think I agree with you, Shannon. I also think he's only played for 3 days. So maybe come day 4, day 5, day 6, the chaos inside of him could just come out. And for all we know, he thinks he's, you know, really thought about the game, how to change his game. But the elements might get to him. He might get hungry and things might happen and he might go off the rails. And I kind of want to see that. I don't want him to be the first boot, but I think it would be hilarious if he was Francesco 2.0. Just to go down in history. I don't want it to happen at all. I don't want it to happen. But it would make for great TV.
But I don't think that he's going to go off the rails because like to think about it for as long as he has, like it really affected him to be first boot. Like he's a big, big fan. Like it's really hard to be the first boot of Survivor. Like that's why I've always been interested in a first boot season or a first boot of tribe season, which is this is probably the closest that we've gotten to it. And there's so many good picks like in US Survivor that like we could cast it right now would be an incredible season. And I think that Sheamus is bringing a lot of that. Like there are a few tribe first boots on the cast, but to be like the actual first boot of what ended up being such a crazy season. He didn't even make it to the Rocks, and the Rocks happened in episode 2. Like, and he really defined, like, I think he set the tone of just how crazy Philippines would be. But I think like the lessons he's learned, they're easy not to do. Like, you know, just don't do that thing. I always think it's easy. It's like, you don't have to change this whole big thing. Just like pull back a little, just don't do that thing. And sometimes that can be hard, but I think it is quite doable for him. And he seems very, very different. He seems really chill and nice and cool. I think he's coming in hopefully just not too much in his head, because I think obviously he's been thinking about it a lot, but I just think he's got a lot to bring to the season.
Yeah. He's got a lot of mindfulness, I feel like. He's undergone a lot. He unfortunately lost his father shortly before going out there, and so I think that has like given him another thing to allow him a new approach to like not only game but life as well. And I think hopefully that allows him to slow down a bit. I think that was maybe his most crucial error, was just going too hard too fast. And so as long as he just like dials it back a bit, not completely slow, I'm going to lay down in the shelter and not entertain any conversations. As long as he just dials it back a notch, I think he should be okay in the relative sense. And then he's one of these other people where, again, I feel like if you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. And I think we'll blink and he'll be like, oh, wait, Sheamus is in the final 4? How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, he's also young and fit. So from a physical perspective, like I don't think he's going to go early as well, because like they really need all the strength they can get against Masu. So I think they're going to really need him physically. Like maybe we haven't obviously seen him much in challenges, but like maybe he'd be good in some challenges as well later on. So I think that's potential. I think that's the big thing with him, is that it's all potential, because we've only seen 3 days of it, but I see the potential there.
Yeah, solid pick.
All right. And then
I know who this is.
Who is it, Mike?
Do you want me to write it down?
No, it's fine. Like, just tell me who it is.
Is it Shona?
Yeah, but I did tell you my entire all of who I thought was going to do well.
No,
we have spoken about this for 16 hours.
You adore Shona, so like I had a feeling she would try to fall into your team no matter what.
Yeah, and I feel like I was pretty high on her in the interviews. Mike's like, oh my god, I can guess what you're thinking. It's like, Mike, we have spoken about this for 17 hours. Like, well done to you. Like,
I
you
can
really
guess
what
to pick with nothing more than over a dozen hours that we've had to talk about these players.
Magic trick. And you know me, because I always keep the cards really close to the vest, so I didn't give anything away. So Mike's just completely going off like my lack of information. Shona, I feel good about Shona, because as well, for talking, like I feel like she kind of completes this pack of really interconnected community members. So you had Dino, Marion, Tony, and for me, Tajan actually, and then Shona, especially Shona. She's really high up there as well. Like she's a big part of these Survivor events. She's gone to the finales. Like she has friends that I think could really work out well for her. I think that what happened to her last time was preventable. Like again, it was just like one big incident with David. She was also so young. You know, to go from being, I think, from like roughly 24 to 32 or so, early 20s to early 30s. It's a lot of growth. She's become a successful businesswoman in the meantime. Like she's very much an evolved person. So I think like any of the kind of like she seemed a little bit intimidated last time. Like she was a young person and she was on the back foot early from being quote unquote weaker, as Cornet basically gave to her from the very beginning. And now I don't feel like she'll have that. Like I think she comes in really confident, more confident than she did last time. I think she comes in with friends. She's super likable. I think that if she makes it far, like she's definitely getting a ton of confessionals because she's really fun. So I can see some good stuff. And I think like actual like real winner potential. Like I think it's very much a steal to get Shona at this point, because I think that like she could really win. So yeah, I love my team. This is my whole team, right? No, we get 5 picks?
One more.
Oh no,
One more.
Someone's falling to me. Damn, this looks so good. Just the 4 of them. Can we keep them as it
Somebody's
is?
gonna poison
I'm
the
getting
water.
the last pick. Oh, did the bad
You don't even get
math.
it. It's given to you.
I know, I hate that. Okay, well, I'm loving these 4. I'm loving my team right now.
Yeah, this is a great team.
Yeah,
I love
these are
Shona.
great picks. Yeah, I do too. And I think she's going to play really hard and she could be the leader of her tribe. Maybe not seen as the leader by the other tribe, but she has the relationships. She knows the game. She's had so much growth in her life experience. I think she's in a great place now to play. And I think she's going to go far. Like you said, I could easily see her winning.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, and that's the thing is I think she has a personality that I think really endeared herself to us. And I would imagine her tribe members, she was part of that majority alliance, the Rugrats, for like a hot second. It just so happens that due to circumstances involving, like, she had to find this idol with David because of the challenge, and then David was the one that was, like, throwing her name under the bus. That's when she got thrown into everything. So it was like a set of dominoes that really led to her
She was
unfortunate
up against
departure.
it.
Yeah. So as long as, like, she doesn't end up falling into that very specific trap again, I think she's in a relatively good position. I think that entrepreneurial spirit is fantastic because it really is all about hustle, which is what Survivor is about at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I would just, Shona's one of these people that I would just love to see do well, just because she is such a fun personality, and the better she does, the more we get to see of it.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at the rest of the board, and I'm just
Yeah,
thinking about,
I
like,
have
who
no
I'd be happy to fall
idea.
to me.
Oh my god.
How many of the Dantes am I going to get? Because
I know. I really have no idea who I'm gonna
Sasha,
take. I just.
what do you think?
Oh my god. Third is the worst. Okay.
who were you going to
anyway.
take? Were you
Second
going
is
to
the
take one of
best.
Sheamus or
Yeah,
Shayna?
it was Sheamus or PK.
Yeah, right,
And I
right.
went, yeah, and then I went maximum chaos.
Yeah.
Is what
Well,
happened.
Sheamus is
Continue
pretty chaotic
to
too.
do that.
No, he could
Yeah.
exactly. But I was like, guaranteed chaos. PK got it.
You can
and I
still
should have
get some
picked.
chaos.
Sasha,
yeah.
your brand is watching. Just
Listen.
keep that in mind with your pick.
I need to pick. I have no idea.
I feel like if you want to go in a romantic sense, you should pick one of the Dantes, because then you'd have, like, so you'd be like Team Marion. You'd have, like, Marion's ride or die, Marion's ex, and Marion's crush all in one team, and Marion. Like,
No, that's horrible. I can't do that. Okay.
like that, your whole team would basically just be like Love Island. Like,
Yes.
but just
That's not the show
Bachelorette,
I'm
but it's
watching.
Marion.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Now it's like, do I get the grenade? Because that's who I'm thinking. You know
Who's gonna
what?
fall to me?
Screw it. We're gonna be mess again. And I was trying to diversify my picks, but I can't. I'm useless in drafts. So I
Oh.
think I'm gonna go Braun. And I think I pick no, you know what? No.
One of the 8
Audible.
Dantes?
Audible. Yeah, all the Dantes, obviously. No, okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't think this person will be the first one out, but I also don't think they're winning.
I mean, with no offense to the group that's left, I think that's kind of what we're picking.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
honestly think
exactly.
that to me, there's one solid pick. I was choosing between Shona and this person. This person was probably about 10th on my list. I don't want to give it away.
Ooh,
think
tell
there's-
me.
I know
I
who it
need the
is.
help.
Stop it,
Well,
Mike, you
Mike-
know, because we talking about it for 16 hours.
Mike
Like,
will
it's not
take it,
fair.
so help me
Well,
out.
I think
How
I know
about
who
that?
you're
No, I'm
thinking
not
about,
taking-
Sasha.
Mike, what card am I holding up? But I've told you for 16
Don't
hours
say
what
it.
card it is.
Oh my
No,
god.
I'm not saying because I want. There's some people. There's definitely an order of people I'd be happy to fall to me.
I
And not.
know. And we
Same.
all know I will get the grenade probably. So I feel like Tanya's gonna be like early boot. So I can't pick her.
You never know.
Shit. Okay. I think I'm just gonna go and maximum chaos it and pick Pine Tea.
I knew it.
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
I just need
Finally,
someone from that
pre-merger.
tribe. That's why. Yeah.
Still with the mess aspect of it, though, considering that I believe she did
Exactly.
yell at Carla about the mess that she had around camp.
Yeah.
And Pine Tea, like, I don't know that she's grown a lot, but she was like, I have changed.
Yeah.
But I think Pine Tea is hilarious. I was very sad when she was voted out, and I just didn't like that she was called aggressive. And I don't know. I think I have a special spot for her anyway. Like, she was gonna be my last pick. So YOLO. Here we are. No,
Yeah, I
other
mean, Pine
reason.
Tea. She says that she's had like a lot of life changes, even in like the year that we've known
Yeah.
her.
Career changes.
Yeah.
So I think like she could come in and kind of fit into this new calm vibe. Like that's what we've said about Yontel. It's just going to be people
Mhm.
trying to be chill. And Pine Tea could fit into that. I don't think that she will be an early boot because I don't think she's going to come out and kind of like have the same conflict. I think that those were just like personality clashes. I think that she's physically pretty strong, and again, they need like pure strength.
Exactly.
So I can't imagine a world in which she's really first boot. I mean, it could happen, but it's not something that like really stands out to me.
No, because I think where she went wrong in her first season was twofold, where A, she was kind of like out in front doing a bunch of strategizing, but not necessarily doing it in a very subtle way. Like there were so many sub-alliances going on in that tribe in the beginning, but like compare her to Anesu, right? Who was in so many different
Exactly.
configurations, but was like very under the radar and low key about it, as opposed to Pinty, who was like we're doing this, we're doing that. There's that infamous moment, right, where she like spills diplomatic immunity to Tyson and then like
Yeah.
lies about it afterwards. So I think between that and her just like very visually bristling against people, I don't think she'll bring that, at least in the initial stages. So much like Sheamus, she's not going to repeat the same mistakes immediately. Now, chances are, like, is she someone that they could be someone easy to take out down the line? Maybe, but I also see her hitting this streak in the post-merge where, like, I'm not seeing, unless she puts herself really out in front as a target, I don't really see her getting targeted until much, much later in the
Yeah.
game. So
That's a
if
good point.
Pinty's able to make it pretty far in there, I think she's got a good runway ahead of her.
And if she's able to get with Dino and Threeso, right? Like that's another piece where I'm
Mhm.
praying that's because I just feel like Dino is gonna run that tribe.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like he's so smart. Not that Pinty isn't, but he with his power, I think hopefully is able to get those two somehow and being like, y'all, we just like need to
Yeah.
suck it up and we're in it. Period. Let's
Because
move.
they, have, I think, a friendship from outside the game. Also, we were meant to stop hyping up Dino. Like, Dino's just going to run the whole tribe and the whole game
Yeah.
will
I
win.
know, but
so-
it's the truth. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's also what I'm hoping is like she gets there and then she'll hit her stride and then she'll be able to spread her wings is how I see her game.
I could see that.
Prayers.
All right, Mike, who are you thinking about taking
Mike
next?
will take my pick that I want.
Jason, can you put like the 37 Dantes up on the board at the same
Oh,
time?
that was not my pick.
Ooh.
No, I know. Listen, it comes back to me one more time, and I think I'm gonna snatch your pick then. For me, this is purely like challenge points. I do not think Dante necessarily has a chance of winning the game. I just think from a social perspective, he is totally fine being like an introvert by himself, living in a cave, and that is totally well and good just as a person in life. Doesn't necessarily work on Survivor. But I think like it's very stunning. But we had a graphic made for us of like who had the name mentioned the most, the people they wanted to see out there.
Mhm.
The most was Dante. There were a lot of people who said they wanted to work with Dante.
What was Shane? But then
I think it was. Oh yeah, it was Shane then Dante. But I think Dante it was surprising for second place because I think again it's the guy who said he was going to hug someone with his fist. But I think Dante is strong. He is loyal. He is not necessarily known as the brains behind the operation. And I think he is someone who's almost always going to go above you when it comes down to like he or somebody else. And so I think that Dante is someone who I could see lasting a long time, especially if someone like Chappies goes early on, like he is then their provider. And that could become incredibly important. And then once they get to the merge, if he gets in good with some people and is able to avoid the ever-present, sort of Damocles of, oh, he's a big physical threat, we've got to get him out, he can make it fairly far. Again, I'm not counting on him to win the $1,000,000 at the end of the day, but I think that there's a chance he could net me some other points along the way while also not being the first boot, at least. I do not see anyone being like, all right, I think Dante's the troublemaker. We got to get him out first.
Yeah. Especially being on the same tribe with Meryl starting, they worked together in the previous season. Like you said, Mike, he is a provider. He was known as being Aquaman on his last season, spending more time in the water looking for fish than actually on the beach building relationships. And so I think they might even forget about him if they lose the first challenge and they're talking about the first boots, he probably won't even be there. And Meryl will just tell him who to vote for. And I think that'll help him go farther in the game. I think he will get to the merge, and I'm curious to see how he does. He was someone I was really split on whether to take them, or he could go really far and he could go to the end as a goat and just be happy to do that, catching fish every day.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, I think that he is a good pick, especially this late, because he's long for the game. He's not even remotely the biggest target, and he's a physical asset. Definitely some easy challenge points if he makes it far, which he definitely could. Could definitely see him making it to the end. As I've said in the podcast, like I find it hard to see him winning from a social perspective because it's hard to win Survivor when you are more comfortable alone in a cave. But and I've said I can't even imagine him like advocating for himself at the final tribal council. But I do think that there's like a lot of longevity there, and like he's definitely not a first boot pick. So
that's why Gollum will never win Survivor. You heard it here first, folks.
Oh my god,
that's the only reason.
Yeah, that's literally the only reason.
Otherwise, he really had it.
He might kill everyone else at camp, but
Yeah. So with my next pick, the fourth pick of my 5, I'm going to pick someone who I was hoping was going to fall to me at this point. So thank you, Mike and Sasha, for not taking this person. But I am taking Felix.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked him from his previous season. I remember him. I remember the conflict he had with Tanya, and I think he is an asset to his tribe. He will not be the first boot. And I think he also is kind of like a blank slate. We don't know what he could be like if he gets farther than he did in his first time. If he gets to the merge, I think he could be unpredictable in terms of how will he play? Whose game strategy will he use? And he's likable enough. I think people will want to work with him. And I just would not see him being the first boot.
Yeah, I think blank slate is a great thing to say, because I will admit, out of all the interviews that we did, I think I have my finger the least on Felix. All I really know is that he came in being like, last time my kid was just born. I was too busy thinking about home. Now I'm fine. I'm in a better headspace. It's a big question, though. I think a lot of questions you could ask of Seamus could very easily be applied to Felix, where what Felix was known for doing was having a bit of a temper, especially when it came to just not being able to handle certain people like Tanya. Will history repeat itself? We shall see. So I hope that Felix does not fall into that same trap. I do agree that from a physicality perspective, right? He is a rugby player. Like, he has the ability, I think, the raw physical strength to be able to help try to carry this tribe in challenges if they want to focus on that. I personally have a tough time envisioning him, making it far, let alone winning. But this could be another guy like Seamus who gets in good at the very beginning, is able to ingratiate himself well to people, and then again we close our eyes, we open them again. Felix is in the final 5 somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I actually see Felix was more similar to Dante, because I think that they're both physical assets. That physical necessity is much more there for Yontel as well. So I think that they're really going to rely on him early. I think they could both be long for the game, but it's hard for me to see them winning. Felix, I think, is more of a hothead, although that's weird to say against Dante, who did threaten to hug someone with his fist. But it's more like the introverted thing with Dante, and then sometimes he comes into conflict. I feel like Felix is a really big personality from the get-go, so could put a target on himself, but I definitely think he's going to be saved by his own physicality early, and then could get challenge points, and could make it pretty far. But I can't see him winning, but it's a good pick, definitely, for this point in the draft.
And now for my last pick, the first pick of the last round of our draft. I am picking someone who I think has a 0.0 chance of winning the season. Someone I didn't think I would be taking, but I am confident that this person will go the farthest out of the remaining castaways on the board. So I am taking... I really have to take this person. Steffi. Like I said, I don't think she can win, but she is physical. Her tribe is going to win more challenges. She can win individual immunities.
Yeah.
And I think her perspective has shifted since the first time she played, and she's not going to have someone like Nicole, right, who she worked with. So I'm curious who's going to fill that void and kind of lead her around. And I'm hoping it's the other people on my team and save her.
It's going to be Chappies who is on your team.
Yeah.
I think that is a relationship that we really keyed in on. I think it's a relationship that at least one of the parties wants to have on the island. I think while the other ones had pairs that were forged in previous seasons, I think this is another one that's going to develop organically on the island.
Yeah. New Steffi, as we call her, or as my cousin said, Stefanu. How we're not calling her that. But yeah, so I think it's kind of in the similar category for me of picks that you and Mike have had in the last couple of picks, which is very physical, definite challenge points, not in trouble early, possibly long for the game. If you really is going to be so different, then not even really clashing with people. Hard to see her win, hard to see the strategic acumen to get the resume to advocate for that, to get the win, but could get very far and pick up points in the meantime and not lose you 2 points as a first boot, which is in the last round of the draft pretty much what you're looking for. So, yeah.
All right.
Mike?
That's your whole team. That's done.
That's your whole team. Look at this. All right, now it's my last pick. All right, well, first off, I'm very glad that I have to pick a pre-merger, because this is just like a piece of pie for an OCD person, right? Pre-merge, post-merge, pre-merge, post-merge, pre-merge now. I should win on symmetry alone. It's a piece of art. So that being said, listen, we always want to end on a good story, and I don't think anyone has just a more incredible story of loss and tragedy of what has happened over the past couple of years than Killarney, who I'm going to take with my last pick. She has been through a lot. And I am so happy for many reasons that she has made the effort to come back here. She was really given the short end of the stick last time between some of the comments that were being directed her way by other tribe mates, between just the fact that, like, she happened to be doing something and then Marion and then Shane's alliance just decided to turn the entire tribe onto her. But I think she's someone who is able to be a really strong, sturdy force for the pre-merge. I don't see her being voted out early. I think she is incredibly physical. And I think she also fits in with my tribe because I think it's you need to calm down. And I think that she is sort of like the sensei of this dojo in that she is very steely, reserved, has that inner confidence, whereas the other four might have their own anxiety or anger issues, and Killarney will be the one to lead them through that. So she is a big wild card to me because she is one of the people alongside Pinty and Seamus who only went to one tribal council. And so I have no idea how she is going to do, but I think again she's still in this nebulous category of can do well. She may end up making it to the end, and maybe she'll end up surprising us and like crafting a winning game as well.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really wanted Kalani, obviously. That was the one that I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Kalani could actually win. Yeah, like, I mean, could she be an early boot? She is an older woman, but she's fit, she's physical. She's coming in there with like such a good energy and approach, and if she gets to the end and tells her story, like I definitely think she could win. I don't think she's a huge target in any way, and I don't think that she's going to put a target on herself. Like I don't see her highlighting herself in a negative way for anyone. I don't see anyone really worrying about her. I see her bringing a really good vibe to the tribe and her being really an asset to the tribe physically and just like for the group. So I see her really with some potential to make it far, and then like literal winner potential in the last round is amazing. Like I think Killarney has an actual chance to take it all. So, yeah, good pick.
Well, thank you.
But you
Issues with your application? Is it the code? The network? New Relic knows. Up your observability game with 16 monitoring tools in one. NewRelic.com/New Relic
It might be the tier list. Oh.
Is there an ad playing on your computer?
Oh, probably because it's gone now. Oh well. Anyway,
that was an ad for the podcast.
Well, it was a great messy lead into Sasha's last pick.
I have no idea who I'm gonna pick. I have both.
Listen, you actually are going for like between two messy people. You're going with Tanya versus the man who, when asked what celebrity would you want to bring out as your loved one, said, "I want to bring out with someone I could cheat on my wife with."
Exactly. So I'm trying to figure out who I go with. Because it's so funny because this is so hard. Because I feel like either of them could be first boot for different reasons. And that's why I'm struggling. Like, is Felix really gonna screw Tanya? Is the question. And will, then that equals like Phil just kind of going under the radar. Because and they both have like so many people they don't want to work with, which is funny. That's another thing where I'm like, what y'all doing out here? Oh, damn. I think I'll do Tanya.
Yes.
I can't.
The stakes were so high for me because you decided my team.
Yes, I love it. Go for it. Again, like Sasha, this is team mess. You better bring the woman who like kept people up all night talking about legalizing weed and that her grandfather was a bank robber. Like she's captain of your team essentially.
Yeah, I can't.
Those were reasons why I wanted to pick her. I just want to say, but I think she's gonna mess her own game up. I don't think it's gonna be anything Felix does.
Yeah.
Defending
I
my
just hope she's
team.
on first boot. That's what I pray.
Well, yeah, when looking at the 7 possible picks I had after Shona to fall to me, I really didn't want Tanya to fall to me. I love Tanya, obviously. I love her as a character. I love her as a person. I don't love her as a draft pick because I feel like once you have the clause of -2 points of first boot, like just from a demographic perspective, from a reputation perspective, there is the Felix angle physically up against Masu, who was so strong. I think that could be just like a concern for them. If she makes it far, like, she's getting confessional points for sure. And there is a world in which she kind of does slip through. You know, she did find her footing at a point in her season.
Yeah.
And then she's getting the confessional points. But I just feel like I definitely can't see her winning, although obviously it's a very final pick. But it's the first boot concern for me, where I feel like that Yontal's almost definitely going to lose. And they're going to be looking physically at this like beast of an opponent tribe that they have. And they're going to possibly look at Tanya. So, yeah, I was concerned about like the -2 points that my team could have with Tanya.
Listen, I had the villain or Tanya, and here we are.
Yeah. So, I mean, Phil, I'm quite happy to get Phil. I feel like I might have taken him. I would have taken Kalani if I had her, and then I probably would have gone next with him because there is some early boot potential. Like, I feel like of all of the Yontal men who come and being like, I was a lot and I'm going to chill, he's the one who's most like still really wanting to be villainous. He's like, I'm still going to steal the sugarcane, but just not tell anyone about it. Like, he's the one who the most, I think, is just like really raring to go to kind of like, you know, be a little messy. But in saying that, I think he actually has some chops. Like, he's pretty strategic. I think that he could have relationships there. He could kind of find like Tevin or Dino, like people to kind of get on with Seamus, like other kind of like messy Yontal men to really connect with. And then I think he has like possible skills. Like, he could be strategic and fun and actually make it pretty far. Like, I don't think he'll be first boot. And there's a world in which Phil wins. It's a small chance. But I also think
it's a small world that Phil wins.
It's a small world, but he has the skills. Like, I think he has the read enough on the game. Like, I think he could make the moves to have the resume for sure. And I think he could have fun confessionals. Like, I'm actually really happy with his team. I'm kind of loving my team right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I think confessional points is maybe where it's at for Phil, because he's someone who I think also loves to play it up to the cameras. He was the guy in the first couple episodes of Champions who was just like drooling at the camera about the sugar cane that he ended up finding. Like, this is a guy who I think, to your point, Jason, is going to make good TV no matter what. It's a factor as to what amount of good TV he ends up making and what amount of episodes that he lasts as well. But he could be somebody who also has some physicality that like could end up, if somehow a bunch of the other brawny people on Yontao end up getting taken out and they're like, okay, I guess we need Phil. He steals our food, but we need him. And he could be someone who's able to make it fairly far into the game as a result.
Yeah, and so to recap our teams, Shannon has Meryl, Tajan, Seamus, Shona, and Phil. Sasha has Shane, Marion, P Chaos, Pinty, and Tanya. Mike has Dino and Tony and Tevin and Dante and Killarney. And my team is Palessa, Therizo, Chappies, Felix, and Steffi.
How is everybody feeling at this moment? Sasha?
Listen. I feel like it makes sense. I have not seen the shows, like the earlier seasons. So I don't know that, you know, it would have made sense that the person that saw nothing would have won. So that's why I went for maximum chaos. And I love it.
Team, though. Yeah, like, I mean, look, you have the drama. You brought the drama. I brought some stability. That's what I tried. I feel like mine, with Seamus, and Phil. I mean, look, in terms of this cast, stability.
Exactly.
I bring mental health awareness. I bring metamorphosis. I bring most of the people that Shannon would have picked. So I feel like
that was your goal.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Steal from me. That was the team. Yeah.
And my team is just people I want to root for. Maybe one of them will win, but if not, I'm going to have so much fun cheering for them episode after episode. And that's really what matters for me.
Yeah, I think I'll be cheering for all 20 of them, to be honest. I think getting to talk to this cast and now actually having it be less than a week away is really exciting. This is the most exciting part of the season sometimes, right? Of like, there's only potential. There is no reality at this point that we can sort of anchor ourselves into. So it's purely fan fiction we're scripting out right now. But I'm really excited to see what happens when these people actually hit the beach, how much we're wrong, how much we're right, and who's going to end up victorious at the end of this all.
Here we go, y'all. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers for my team.
I'm obsessed with Sasha's team. It's so funny.
Like,
It's
who
so
would you want to
unhinged.
hang out with at a bar? It's my team. Like, let's be clear.
I'd
people
get
on my
thrown
team.
out of the bar with your team.
Exactly.
Like
I
Tanya
mean,
was the icing on the cake of this team.
That's why I was like,
I gotta
Phil,
we're gonna have
know
Tanya.
is better. But here we go.
And Tanya's icing
So
isn't edible
crazy.
at the same time.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's just maximum chaos. I think if I like had round robin, I would have mellowed it out with like one chaos pick, one normal pick. But here we are. I was like, no. I'm just
It
sad
was
I didn't
good.
get any of the Indians, but that was on me, obviously.
I think that it was good, like, psychological warfare that were like, Sasha, your team is mess magnets. You gotta go super messy. And now she has like the messiest team of all time. Like, you gotta do it. It's the theme of your team. Like,
No,
now,
I
like,
looked
Yeah.
at don't worry. I looked up villains first. That's a first.
Well, that's your
thing I
brand.
did.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and I
Like,
also
it's
do
crazy.
feel like, to a certain extent, like this is a cast. I mean, hell, again, Shane was the most requested person that people want to work with.
Yeah.
I think this is a cast that would. I don't want to put words in their mouths when it comes to the jury, but like I do feel like they're a cast that would respect some big cutthroat
Yeah.
gameplay.
Yeah.
And
he'd
so
win
I
if he
think,
gets to the end.
yeah, and so I think there is a chance that like a villain is going to end up winning her. In which case, like Sasha, you have a good amount of winner equity at that point.
Well,
Yeah, and I think Marion has a really, like, Marion for me was a top 5 pick. Like, she has a really good shot.
yeah.
If you don't get the confessional points, something has gone wrong. Like, you earn those points.
I don't
I'm
know.
telling
Dino and Chappies, I feel like, are good other threats for it
Yeah.
as well.
But Chappie's
Well,
going
that's
early. That's what I feel. So hopefully
There's a
I'll
lot
like
of
even
interesting
out.
Yeah.
Hopefully Chappies will plateau.
Hopefully
Well,
not, and he goes even farther than he did last season. I also want to say I think Palessa's going to get a lot of confessional points. And I think Meryl will too. She was so great in her last season, so I'm really excited to see how she does in this. She's one of the people I'm most looking forward to seeing play. I think.
Also,
I
I
feel
meant to pick Meryl, and then I just forgot that she was on my list. And I was like, Marianne and Meryl were two different people. So here I am.
To be fair, Shannon picked her right after you, so you wouldn't have been able to
really
make the
was.
vote.
No,
call.
I wanted to pick her over Shane, is what I mean. I just like forgot that she was
Trade.
there.
Well, that's
No,
I
no,
love
no,
this
I
though
want
because
Meryl.
that
Definitely
kick-started
want
this
Meryl.
entire thing. So it's much
Yeah.
like the Sheamus pick, right? Like
Exactly.
without the Shane pick, this entire beautiful team wouldn't have happened.
No, it wouldn't have happened. It's fine.
But Jason's team, I feel like, is team target. Like, you got Palessa and
Yeah.
Tabby and Stephanie, like, people who really, like, made a mark on their season. So, yeah. And I'm just here being team stable. I think that's what... I mean, it's weird to say that with Sheamus and Philip, who was left to me, but I still really like Philip. And Shona. Honestly, this cast is so messy that Sheamus is like, that's a really stable pick.
Yeah.
Like, set off Philippines into, like, the madness that it was.
Oh, my God.
Got a bunch of pretty ponies in team stable. I love it. But will it be a winning purebred?
Yes.
Is that purebred? No, it's a dog, not a horse. Are horses purebred? Does that matter?
Yeah.
But I don't want to call my players horses.
Or pure, yeah. Thoroughbred.
Thoroughbred, that's what it is. I knew it was something bred.
Yes. Look at me. I know words. But yes, I think that is it, y'all.
Yeah,
Do we have any requests or, hopes and prayers for the season before we close out?
Yeah, can you play Spice Girls, Spice Up Your Life?
Got you,
At Tribal Council, I want to see Nico start singing it.
Can't wait.
So one question. Oh, sorry, go Shannon.
Well, I just want to say that all my team members are getting all the Chizzy points every week. In fact, it's actually great because we changed the Chizzy format to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this is it. Even when they're out of the game, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the Chizzy points.
Don't you have any integrity, like you were saying at the start of this podcast?
But I don't. But I'm a hypocrite.
So
Real.
Before we start to wrap up, I just thought of a question. Speaking of the great host, Nico, who do you think is going to be the one contestant, the one castaway that he's going to really yell at the most during the challenges? Because that's something that I love about him. Who's he going to give the most grief to?
Oh, grief. Okay, so it's not like, so it's more like, you better dig, that type of thing?
More like, Jean has 0 chance of winning this challenge type of behavior.
Probably.
I love her, but Teresa.
Yeah.
I think she got a fair amount early on in season 8 as well.
Yeah, he really spotlighted her. Rude.
I mean, though it could also be like in the mold of a Chappies or a Dante or a Sheamus, right? Of like, oh, the big guy can't throw a ball. What's wrong with you?
He was Aquaman. Suck it now.
Save more people than you are. Put more people on your shoulders and carry them out of the game, which we should be paying you for because that's a job. It's called a lifeguard, and we employ them.
I think it might be PK. Because it might get under his skin to be egged on during challenges. And I think he could be the one to yell back in the middle of it.
Oh, you know what? It could be Tevin, because Tevin did tell me that, like, he's going to now stop tribal councils if he feels like he's in danger. And I think Nico's not going to be very happy about that if that happens.
Dang, I really missed out on chaos again.
Oh, it's a top 5 season of Survivor franchise globally, period. Survivor South Africa, Philippines is the best.
Especially for Sasha, who loves mess. Like,
I know. And an Indian guy, here we are. Look at me.
No, it produces, in my opinion, the messiest Survivor winner of all time.
Oh my
God. And, to start to wrap up, I just want to say, if you have enjoyed listening to this fun draft preview and you aren't subscribed to Silent Podcasts, stop right now, push that button, subscribe, and join in all of our fun. Tweet us. Let us know who you think has the best team. Who is your winner pick? Who is going to find the most advantages? Who's going to get the most confessionals? Let us know what you think.
Team Miss Magnets. I can't even get through it. Anyway.
And make sure to join us this season as Sasha and I will be back doing weekly recaps of this fun, exciting, unpredictable, messy season.
And leave us 5-star reviews.
Only 5 stars.
And only 5 stars. Don't play me on this less than 5 stars nonsense. Like, please don't leave the review if it's less than 5 stars. So come back when you change your mind.
So Shannon, I have to ask, in case anyone here listening doesn't know where they can find you or doesn't know what you have upcoming, can you please let us know so we can get more listeners over to you, more cars in the Twitter parade?
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
I drive in the Twitter streets all the time, so I see the Twitter parades, and I think it's going towards y'all's coverage.
Thank you.
Oh, 100%.
Thank you so much for having us. This was really, really fun. It's always really fun to draft, even though Mike was stealing my picks. But yeah, tweet at me about how much you love Team Stable. I just feel like it looks so good. But yeah, you can follow me at Shannon Gates if you want me on the Twitter parade. And we have a lot of Survivor South Africa stuff. Yeah, the 16 hours of coverage. It's more than 16.
It's at least, yeah.
Wait.
Because we also did a kickoff show as well.
And also they were all longer than 4 hours.
And also,
why am I having to do so much math?
Another one coming.
It's not including this. It's 19 hours. It's getting over 20 hours. And then tomorrow we're doing another podcast.
In Europe, our preseason coverage is old enough to drink.
Yeah, so we
if there was an hour for every year.
Yeah, if there was an hour for every year. It's getting close to 21 though, so it's getting there for the US. But tomorrow we are doing a wrap up as well of the preseason. We did last season. We're gonna play some games. We're gonna do superlatives. We're gonna talk it out. Mike's finally gonna give his winner pick that you have to wait 23 hours of coverage to get. Even though in the first second I just gave my winner pick. So.
I still don't know what it is, so it'll be a little bit of a fun 24 hours ahead of me.
That's so annoying.
I have 5 guesses.
Exactly. You get 20 guesses as to what my winner pick is.
Yeah. Well, I had my winner pick since January, but it's fine. Mike is just gonna come up with his now. But yeah, we're doing that with Kieran and Jacques. So we're going to be doing that on RHAP. And then I'm also going to be on Pod Friends this week with Matt Scott. So talking, on RHAP with that, just talking about some non-Survivor South Africa stuff. So yeah, we'll be also doing weekly recaps and exit press. And it's going to be a big 6 weeks. It's going to be 6 weeks where, you know what we say, like quit your jobs, leave your friends and family, and just devote yourself entirely to Survivor. And if you don't, we will judge you. So.
I cannot believe it's going to be 6 weeks. But yeah, we're planning to record those Thursday nights going into Fridays, just like like what Shannon did with Australian Survivor, right? Like a wrap up of the week's episodes. So, I mean, you could send us questions for that. It'll be kind of a tight turnaround, but it'll be just Shannon and I batting back and forth, giving Chizzy points. We may bring in guests from time to time, but that's going to be more of like a separate check-in, I think.
If we do at all.
Hey, bring this person in and let's do more long division and divide 10 Chizzy points between 3 people.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
And what about you, Mike? Where can people follow you online?
Oh, gee golly gosh. Mike at a Mike Bloom type for all of the many things I'm doing at this moment. So there's a lot of reality TV happening if the Silent Podcasts queue is not indicative of that at this point. I'm doing exit press for both Big Brother 24 and the Challenge USA. I'm sure given the recent events of Big Brother 24, people want some answers. Hopefully I'll be able to get some over the course of the Exit Press that I'm doing every week for Parade.com. And then over on the scripted side of things, lots of things happening. I have the distinct honor and pleasure of getting to join Sasha again in less than 24 hours. She and I are guesting on Everything is Super to talk with Kevin Mahadeo about the finale of Miss Marvel on Disney+. We talked last week. Sasha gave an incredible history lesson about the partition of India back in the 40s. It was a really fantastic time. We'll be wrapping all of that up as well with Kevin. I also finished covering The Boys alongside Kevin on Amazon Prime, which was a sublimely fun and raunchy and wild season of television. Did some Lost stuff as well. This week I drafted Lost characters into another draft into Star Trek crews alongside a couple of people behind the scenes.
You're a nerd.
That's doing the absolute.
That was the breaking point. I was so cool up until this point when I finally became a nerd. And then I did some Stranger Things feedback as well in response to a lot of really great comments written about season 4. So that, Westworld's happening, some other stuff to come as well in August. So a lot is happening at the moment. And I am thrilled, beyond ecstatic to be able to have like 4 episodes of Survivor South Africa now to like throw onto that plate. It's a lot, but I am incredibly excited to like rush through those 4 42-minute episodes a week.
For sure. What about you, Sasha? Do you have anything upcoming?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at funsize_04 to know what all I'm doing out here in these Twitter streets. And you can follow me for more mess and more pop culture, celebrity, gossip, honestly, anything the vibe is over on Rob as a podcast / Mess Magnets, where Kirsten McInnes and I are talking just like gossip. Like it's just us gossiping about whatever we feel like. So this week we'll be talking Kardashians, Funny Girl, and lots of Ace Fest. It finally happened. So lots of mess, lots of drama over on Rob as a podcast / Mess Magnets. Go check that out. And like Mike said, I was on with him over on Post Show Recaps for Miss Marvel. And I was on with Rob from Rob has a podcast, as if y'all don't know, talking with Akiva and the movie RRR on Netflix. So I took them to India again. And we talked a little bit about all those wild ass fights. Like, what the hell is that movie? But here we are. And I was on the Big Brother recap as well. Listen, you don't need to watch the show, but you can watch the recap because there's a lot of important stuff that the 4 of us talked through, and some laughs here and there. Indy's a sex therapist. Like we got into it all. So go check all of that out. And Jason, where can people find you?
You can find me in the Twitter streets at TheRealJO, where I'm posting, still celebrating the Kansas Jayhawks winning the national championship. It's a year-long celebration. It's random tweets about BB24.
Until football season, you can celebrate.
Until March Madness happens again. And I have to say, everyone should check out that BB24 cast, because when they talk about Indy being a sex coach, it literally broke Taryn on the air, even just listening to audio. Wow. I burst out laughing so hard that people looked at me.
Yeah, I asked Taryn if he wanted a sex stool. It got weird.
It was off the rails, and I'm going to be back here every week covering Survivor South Africa with Sasha. We're so excited. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Big shout out again to Mike and Shannon for joining us. This crossover Survivor South Africa Love Draft. We'll see who wins. And thanks everyone for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.